how to breathe for speed training for kids. Okay, so I get this question a lot. A lot of parents ask me, how do I get the kids to breathe correctly when I'm doing the speed training or when the kids are out there actually performing and running and stuff like that? So I'm going to answer that question in this video. It's probably not going to be a long video, but I definitely want to get this question answered and get you guys some information that you can take with you when you start doing your training. Okay, so I want to answer that question right here, right now, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, but before I do that, I just wanted to make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you never miss an upload. We got that going, we got that out the way. Also, I created a video on how to do your own training. Okay, so I'm going to link that down in the description. Also, it's going to be right here, so you guys can see that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into what we're talking about. So the reason why your kids are not breathing right, or they're having trouble breathing when they're doing their speed training, or when they're doing, when they're out performing and things like that, and you're trying to figure out how they can breathe, it's because of this one simple thing that's stopping them. Okay, this one simple thing that's stopping them. It's not as critical as you think it might be. It's not as a crazy idea as you might think it be. But I want to just kind of give you a little bit of backstory right before I give you the answer on this, okay? So a little bit of the backstory was this. I keep getting people coming to me asking questions about how to get their kids to breathe better and things like that. And it was a very hard question for me to answer because as a experienced runner, as an experienced coach, I look at that question, I'm like, how do I breathe better? Like, what do you mean, how do you breathe better? Like, how do you breathe better? Go in your nose and out your mouth. And that's what I thought it was for a long time, until I actually started talking to people and trying to get a little bit more context around what people meant when they said that. And what I found was that people weren't asking, how do you effectively breathe? So to effectively breathe when you're running and you're actually in the running motion, and you're in there and you're doing your sport or whatever, is in the nose, out the mouth. Okay, in the nose, out the mouth. Okay, so that's how we effectively breathe. We get that good circulation coming in, and the kids will effectively breathe. All right, so that means that's to ensure having a good amount of oxygen in to go into the body and help with the recovery of the muscles. Okay, help slow the onset of the tiredness, the fatigue, and they're going to get lactic acid buildup. So we're going to try to help slow all of that stuff and help them be able to use those muscles better. So we take big breaths in and through the nose and out the mouth, especially when we're trying to recover, in the nose and out the mouth. So I was thinking about that, but then when I realized what people were actually asking, people were actually not asking that. They were literally trying to figure out, well, because I talked to a couple people and they're like, yo, when my kids are running, they come to me and they say, Mom, I'm always out of breath. I'm always out of breath when I'm running. And I said, do they tell you this? Obviously, they tell you that afterwards. And I said, they tell you that after they finish running, and they're saying while they're running, they're out of breath. And she says, yes. That a lot of people were saying yes. So that's when I realized that it wasn't just learning how to breathe when they run. It is being able to have enough breath. I'm gonna use their words, having enough breath so that they can run longer. How do they extend that? And so that's when I realized we're not talking about efficiency of breathing here. We're talking about getting in shape. Okay, so that's what we need to do if we want our kids to run and be able to breathe better when they're running, and to breathe better when they're running. We have to teach them, we have to get them in shape, okay? There's no other way around it, okay? So it baffled me for a long time, and I'm like, what are these people asking? Like, in the nose, out the mouth, and people weren't really responding to that. And then when I realized, oh, you're talking about your kid is out of shape, okay? So you gotta get them in shape. All right, so I'm gonna give you some ways to get them in shape here on this video right here, okay? So there's a couple of different ways to get your kids in shape, and it's depending on the sport. Now, here's the only thing where where the sport is gonna matter. It's gonna matter for some sports. It's gonna matter a whole lot. For some sports, it's not, just depending on what sport you're playing. And we'll talk about that here right now. So for every sport, there's a different type of shape that you have to be in. Okay, so here's what I dealt with a lot. A lot of kids would come to me. They played football all season. Coach ran them till their tongue fell out, till they were throwing up, all that stuff. Okay, all the good stuff that the coaches, they think is great, but it's not so great. But they do it because they were doing it, and so they gotta just pass it down because, you know, we lived in a time where we were, you know, tough, and we went to practice with no cleats on, and our coaches ran us until you know, the sun went down, and then our parents had to wait 45 minutes before us to come off the field, and if our parents were late picking us up, we had to run another 45 minutes. All of those things, okay? So I'm being sarcastic, but that's how we talk, and we take pride in that, but that's not really the way that we should be doing it, guys. And so we get kids coming from football. My coach ran us till our tongues fell out. I'm in shape. Yeah, you're in shape for football, but when you come to track and field, that's a totally different type of shape. All right, here's the difference. All right, now this is not just only football to track. This is not only basketball to football. This is for pretty much every sport. Okay, now there's some sports that are similar where you're going to do kind of the similar things, but most of the time there's going to be sport specific things that you got to do. Okay, so let's talk about it. So football guys come to track and they think they're in shape. You're in football shape, but you're not in track shape. Okay, what's the difference? In football, you're running. An average play averages about 4 to 6 seconds. Okay, so you got to run short speed from 4 to 6 seconds. All right, short distances, I should say, at a very high rate of speed for 4 to 6 seconds. Then you get a 40 to 45 second rest because you got a 40 second play clock. And then at the end of the play, there's a couple of seconds there at the end of the play where the play clock actually resets, and then all of that stuff. So you got about a 40 to 45 second window or rest time in between time. When you come to track, and let's just say you're running the 200 meters, you're running for 20, depending on how fast you are. And I say, let's just talk about high school. If you're in high school, you're running anywhere from, 21 seconds all the way up to 25 seconds at top speed. Okay, that's a different type of shape. Okay, different type of shape you gotta be in. Different type of muscular use, I should say, for that. All right, and the same is true when you talk about basketball to football. Okay, there's a different type of muscle groups we got to use. I mean, some of them are the same, but it's a different type of workout, a different type of process that they're going to go through. They're going to be running for basketball. You may run for 3 seconds down the court. Somebody gets a turnover, and then you got to reverse and go back the other way, for another 3 seconds. Okay, and that could absolutely happen in football. And I'm not saying that that's not a thing in football, because you could be going down the court. I mean, you could be going down the field running. Quarterback throws an interception. Now you got to run the other way for about 3. So that play may last, 12 seconds. So there's some nuances in there. So don't go in the comments and go crazy and like, no, well, in football this can happen too, and that can happen too. So we understand that. But for the majority of the time, you have 4 to 6 seconds in football. For the majority of the time, you've got these short plays. Somebody runs the ball to gain 2 or 3 yards, make the tackle, and then we're up 40 seconds. You may have ran for a second, 2 seconds. All right. Same thing is true again for basketball. You might be running on any given time between whistle to whistle. You may be running for 5, 6 seconds, and then you might slow down just for a little bit because somebody got the ball, they slowed the tempo down, and now we got a little bit of time to rest, but we're actually still active because we're still moving around the court, either whether we're on offense or defense, trying to stay with the person on defense or moving around trying to get away from somebody. And so there, unless you have the ball and you're just bouncing it and you're just dribbling it and trying to find, trying to set up a play or whatever. So those are two different type of shapes. That's what I'm just trying to get you to understand. There's two different type of shapes. So you're going to have to do two different type of conditioning for those things to help them be able to breathe when they're doing that specific sport, if that makes sense. So if we're doing football, you got to kind of mimic what the sport does as far as the physical exertion that has to be put out there. So that means football, 4 to 6 seconds. We probably want to take the longer end. So we want to do high intensity sprints for 6 seconds and then give not a 40-second rest. We want to give shorter rest. Okay. So we just want to cut down the rest. So this is how you're going to be able to do it perfect every single time, depending on what sports. So you just got to think about what the sport requires. We're going to do that. And then we're going to cut the rest time down so we can get used to doing it more and more and more. See, a lot of times these football coaches, they think they got to go out there and they got to get these kids running 100-yard sprints and do 200 yards by doing double gashes, by going across the field, bam, back, down, back, right? Now, there may be times where they have to reverse field and, change field and things like that. And those things will happen. But you don't have to do 200-meter sprints, 200-yard sprints, 100-yard sprints, and all these different type of gashes and things like that. Trust me, your kids will love you for this. Actually, they won't love you because it's actually harder to go a shorter distance at a high rate of speed with shorter rest time than it is to just go 100 yards. And because I can relax and lift as a track athlete, I know how to relax and lift and not exert a lot of physical energy to run 100 yards and still be faster or as fast as the fastest people out there while I'm not even exerting the energy that they're exerting. Get there, and that looks like I'm giving my all, okay? But what you can't cheat on is those short sprints. So if we're thinking 4 to 6 seconds, we're thinking 40-yard sprints, okay? 40-yard sprints with less time in between. So 40-yard sprint, instead of 42, 45 seconds, we're going 20, 25 seconds rest. Turn around, do it again. All right. And we want to do that 6 to 8 times, give them a break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to do it again. That's what's going to help them get in shape for football better than it would be for them to do 50-yard gashers and come back 50 yards. So doing 100, so that's not football speed. That's just simply not football speed. And so we have to go at football speed so they can feel what it feels like to be under shape. Now, will running gashers get them in shape for football? Yes, but it's going to take a longer time and it's less efficient. Why? Because we're doing mediocre sprints down across, mediocre sprint down and back, okay? We're doing those mediocre sprints. And so it's going to take us 8 to 9 to 10 to 12 reps for them to start feeling the fatigue they need to feel, for them to be able to push through that fatigue so they can get on the other side of that fatigue and get themselves in shape. Okay. So we don't want to do that. All right. We don't want to do that because it's going to be a lot. And that's a high volume, especially for younger kids. So we want to do smaller volume. Okay. And this is why my track practices don't last but for an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Okay. We want to do shorter, more explosive, more quality work. Okay. So we might do 6 to 8 40-yard dashes, 40-yard runs. Okay. We do that 40-yard run, 20 seconds, come on back, 40-yard run. If you want to do gashes at 50 yards, okay, get them across. Don't talk to them. That's a lot of coaches like to do that. They like to talk to them. All right, y'all didn't make it, so we're going to do 2 more. All right, get them chopping. All that stuff, man, is unnecessary, man. You guys are just doing stuff because you were able to do that stuff happened to you, and so now you're trying to take it out on the other kids because you think that's the thing to do instead of doing the research and getting it right. So what we need to do, you want to do the 50-yard gashes? Go ahead, 50 yards across the field, stop them. 20 seconds. All right, come back, set, go, boom, come on back, 20 seconds. And keep them on a rotation of 20 seconds. And guys, I promise you, after 4, 5 of those things, those guys will be ready to puke, and you'll get that same result that you're trying to get by running full gashers and talking to them and making them do chop because they didn't make the time. Don't worry about that. Full out sprint across the field, give them 20 seconds, full out sprint, come on back, give them 20 seconds, full out sprint. And then we got to give them some rest time, okay? Do a set. We're going to do 8, do 4, give them full rest, come back and do another 4. That's going to be way more efficient than doing cross the field, come back, go back. You might do 4 of those. They might be a little tired, but they're not getting to that fatigue point that they need to get to and to be able to push through that so they can get the next thing. So that's just an example from football. So you got to think about basketball too. So in basketball, now your suicide runs, they're great, okay? But you gotta add some variety into those. So if I'm gonna do suicide gashes or suicide runs, I'm gonna do sprint, 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 sprint. Then I'm gonna come back the next time, we'll do sprint, then we'll jog, okay? We'll do sprint and we'll jog. And we'll do this continuously. We won't do a stop, okay? And we'll do random whistles to stop them, okay? Wherever you at, random whistle, stop, boom, come on back. Let's set it up again. And we're going to do the same. Wherever you are, don't matter if you didn't finish or not, random whistle. Why is that? That simulates me in the game. We're running back and forth, boom, a foul happens, and now we got to get on the line, okay? You might even want to incorporate doing some free throws in that amount of time. So you can pick a time. All right, so we're going to run for 20 seconds, okay? Gasher, or suicide. Once you get to 15 seconds, blow the whistle, have them jog, okay? Have them jog. Come there, jog wherever you at. Just jog to where you're supposed to go next. Double whistle, tweet. Everybody on the line, boom. Somebody gets a shot. They make the shot, 2 shots, boom, back, and then get back out there and do the same thing again. You could do 3, 4, 5 sets of those. And guys, I'm telling you, that's going to work wonders for your kids to get them in shape. Then they will be able to breathe better for their sport whenever they're doing. So breathing better while they're performing or while they're out there doing their thing comes from being in shape. How do we get in shape? By doing the things that I told you that you need to do. Get them out there, and actually running more actually helps them get them in shape, okay? Not running inefficiently, but running more and doing more things that's going to make them even more tired, because you don't get in shape until you are tired, okay? You don't get in shape doing things that you're comfortable with. You get in shape by doing things that make you tired, and you're doing that thing over and over again. Then you end up building up a callus or you end up getting used to running for a longer period of time, and you don't get tired as quick, okay? So that's just building up that conditioning for your body. So you have to condition your body, and that only happens with you going out, putting out the work, doing the effort, and then your body will respond by building up a callus or making it easier for you to go a longer distance without having to be out of breath. All right, so I hope that helps, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and so that you never miss an upload. And guys, I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you soon.